Welcome to MATCH B2B INSIGHTS. I'm Brenda, here with my co-host Benny Fluman, and this is The Pain Advantage, the podcast where we break down what really drives B2B decision-making for companies trying to win globally, especially Israeli founders and GTM leaders. If you've been following our last few episodes, you know we're obsessed with one thing: cutting through the buzzwords on branding and getting to what makes buyers actually say yes. Benny, just for anyone new, why are we making such a big deal out of branding as a survival skill?
You know, Brenda, probably half the calls I have every week with Israeli founders are all about that moment they realize, wait, we aren't losing on tech, we are losing on focus. Branding isn't this warm and fuzzy, let's make a logo exercise. It's life and death. If your company can tell me without slides who you serve, what pain you solve, why you, and why now, you're invisible. Especially in Israel, where we're fighting the outsider perception. I mean, I've seen companies with incredible tech lose deals before they ever even get a chance to pitch. And the real punchline? Most don't even know it's happening.
We're doing this series because we've sat in those rooms, right? We've watched teams pour resources into being seen or looking big. But if you don't own relevance in your market, everything else is just noise. We'll keep this laser-focused. Pain, money, trust, risk. Branding as the only way you actually get a seat at the revenue table. Let's get right into it. Benny, you've got this line. Stop chasing recognition, start owning relevance. What's that really mean for Israeli SMBs?
Yeah, so look, most Israeli teams, especially coming from places like Herzliya or Tel Aviv, they want the big sounding brand. The logo, the website, the slogan, the whole parade. But you ask them, what are you truly known for in a deal cycle? And the answer is nothing. Like you end up as option number 17. I actually had to laugh. This AI firm rehired an agency, spent the entire quarter talking about end-to-end AI efficiency. But in sales calls, prospects treated them like the generic 17th choice you scroll past. Recognition's nice, but if you aren't the mental shortcut for one specific pain, you're basically just noise.
And what's wild is, the companies that really win, like Orca Security, right? They don't chase the biggest logo. They pick one pain, they hammer it, and suddenly, that's who buyers call when that pain hits. That's not about glamorous awareness, it's ruthless focus. The real takeaway? Until you're relevant for something a buyer actually cares about, you could be investing in a pretty billboard on a road no one drives. So let's talk about what gets in the way. Because if I see one more deck full of feature bullets, it's like Israeli innovation turns us into our own worst enemy sometimes.
Absolutely. I mean, tech under constraints is our superpower, 8200, all that. But then you see these agri-tech or cyber startups with 12 slides of algorithms, sensors, architecture diagrams, and the buyer's brain just goes, nope. I saw this one smart irrigation team, brilliant stuff, but their story was so over-engineered the value never landed. I mean, it tanks calls.
Oh, I get it. I've been there. I once tried explaining quantum computing to my aunt. Lost her at qubit. You know, we think more features equals more credibility, but all it does is dilute the story. Buyers want clarity, not a PhD thesis.
Exactly. Simplicity wins. When prospects need 25 minutes to find the value nugget in a deck, you've already lost them to a competitor with one strong, memorable message. All right, let's get tactical. Positioning. You want a real global win? Lock your positioning first. It's like chess, right? A lot of people chase control of the whole board, but you only need that one checkmate square to win. Companies like Sneak, Orca, Papaya Global, they didn't say, we do everything. They said, We solve this pain for this buyer, period.
And then everything else, from your LinkedIn copy to your sales deck, anchors around that. Without sharp positioning, every dollar you spend on visuals or content is basically multiplied waste. It's like, don't start with the house paint, start with the foundation. Figure out who your narrowest viable target is, what truly keeps them up at night, and deliver 10x on that.
And don't ever use the phrase comprehensive solution. That's a killer. Makes you sound optional, not essential. Commit to one pain, one persona, test it in real sales calls, get uncomfortable with how narrow it feels. That's usually the sign you're about to win somewhere.
Let's talk about the visual layer, a topic people love to overcomplicate. Benny, you see teams blowing budgets on rebrands but missing the basics. Give us your take.
You don't need a 20K brand book when you're trying to win your first 5 global logos. Buyers judge you on your LinkedIn profile, your email signature, your deck, and your homepage hero section. That's it. Professional headshots, clean banners, tight deck template, website that communicates in 10 seconds or less. You can do it in Canva and a $10 lighting kit. No animations, no custom mascot, none of that. I mean it. Save the budget, spend where the buyer's eyes actually go first.
So true. I always tell teams, you can look like $1,000,000 with a $500 strategy if you actually focus on what buyers see first. And honestly, Benny, you pull it off every time. You and your Canva templates. Okay, let's make it actionable. You got the positioning, you cleaned up the visuals. How do you sharpen your message so your sales team can actually use it and buyers remember it?
The secret is structure. Borrow from storytelling, not feature lists. The before-after enemy story arc. Paint the pain buyers know, call out what's standing in their way, and show the outcome with your solution. Keep it punchy, memorable. I had a Midwest client, food processing, who switched to cutting downtime by 34% as their go-to story. Not complicated, just a real outcome tied to a number. Calls got shorter, close rates jumped. If your sales team can't do this in 30 seconds, your message is too fuzzy.
It isn't even about being glitzy. Just one story, a before, an enemy, an after. That's what rolls off the tongue in real discovery calls, not 12 angles and technical jargon. Focus on what matters most to the audience you want. All right, we know authority drives revenue, without burning through PR agencies or big expos. So how do you become top of mind for your ICP on a lean budget?
Your answer isn't company pages or polished CEO posts. It's real experts asking sharp questions on platforms prospects already use, like LinkedIn. I've seen CTOs generate measurable deal flow in a quarter, not with ads, but with posts that challenge, not sell. Like, why do 80% of predictive maintenance pilots fail? One tough question is worth more than 10 booths at conferences. It's gotta feel risky, maybe even a bit uncomfortable. Authority comes from reframing pain, not reciting features.
Don't worry about being everywhere. Better to own one uncomfortable conversation every week than to hand out 100 pens with your logo that get tossed in a drawer. Depth wins every single time, especially for Israeli founders who need to build trust from zero. So, imagine you nailed everything. Positioning, visuals, message, and now your authority is on the rise. But Benny, what happens as you grow? I've seen so many teams lose their edge when scale comes too quick.
This is brand drift, and trust me, nothing kills deals faster. As teams add people, they explode, messaging gets diluted, and soon you're generic again. You gotta have guardrails, quarterly brand audits, annual workshops to refresh messaging, mandatory onboarding for new hires, and, here's the kicker, a single owner who keeps the brand tight, not a committee. Someone who says no to that extra slide with random new features. I struggle myself. Sometimes I want to fill everything with chess analogies, but you need discipline. Brand discipline, or you're back at square one.
Exactly. It's easy for a company's story to get fuzzy as you scale, but you're building for consistency, not perfection. Create rituals and regular checkpoints to catch drift before it sinks deals or slows the sales team down. If you're just joining us, or maybe you're binging the whole series, this is what we've been driving at from day one. The match between brand and B2B sales isn't theoretical. It's the lever that lets small, scrappy teams beat out bigger, louder competitors' global stage. Benny and I don't do fluff. This is about what gets you paid, protects your margins, and helps you stay relevant as you scale.
And we keep this real. Every playbook you hear on this show is field-tested inside Israeli SMBs, taking punches, making comebacks. We started the series because there's too much advice for the Fortune 500 and not enough for the 18-person startup trying to punch out of Tel Aviv. The survival skill? Turn everything you do, visuals, message, pitch, into a trust engine that helps sales close, not just look good. You know, Brenda, buyers don't want faceless logos. They want real people. I can't tell you how many deals start because a CTO or CEO shares a sharp lesson or hard-won failure story online. Our own experience at MATCH B2B? One messy post about a project fumble scored more DMs than a month of paid campaigns. The buyer comes to the call saying, "I already know you." That's a shortcut to trust, and it shortens cycles like nothing else.
Absolutely. And it doesn't have to be about charisma or flashy content. It's depth and honesty that resonates. Help your CEO or CTO post about the real reasons pilots fail, what it feels like to recover from mistakes. The personal brands of a couple senior people are often the difference between cold calls and warm intros. And in B2B, that can mean 25% higher close rates, easily. Let's hit the alignment point, because none of this matters if the sales team isn't living and breathing the brand. Benny, what's your alignment checklist?
It's strict and, honestly, non-negotiable. Can every rep pitch your brand in 30 seconds? No slides, just words. Do your discovery calls start with pain, not a company monologue? Are objections handled with proof, not discounts? Is the sales deck aligned with your message? Are LinkedIn posts feeding the pipeline? And is there a quick weekly sales marketing sync, one fix per week? If any one of these is missing, you don't have alignment, you have decoration. And then the complaints roll in. Why isn't branding moving the needle?
We've seen wild transformations just by making 30-second pitch training mandatory. Suddenly, fewer too small objections, faster cycles, and you see salespeople actually use the branding work in the field. That's how you know you're onto something real. Great, so everyone's talking about brand impact, but how do you really measure it? What metrics matter at the stage we're talking about?
You gotta get a mix. Engagement rates, lead quality, conversion rates from brand plays. But it's more than digital dashboards. Run regular brand health checks, surveys inside the company, feedback from sales, even quick scanning of real calls to hear if messaging is resonating. You want to know not just if people know your brand, but if it actually helps close deals. Use the feedback to tweak, refine, and double down on what works. It's a loop, not a finish line.
You said it. Continuous feedback between sales and marketing is the only way to make sure your brand isn't just an expense line item, but a true asset driving pipeline. We all love a good customer success story, but too many teams treat these like an afterthought or just throw them on the website. Benny, how do you make customer proof a living, breathing part of your brand?
First, you need a system for collecting stories, not just waiting for one to fall in your lap. Train your sales team to spot and share them in customer calls. Then, document, approve, and distribute. Turn every genuine win into a brand asset you can repurpose everywhere. Outbound, LinkedIn, sales decks. It's those specific, credible anecdotes that break through vendor skepticism. And when your sales team starts referencing real outcomes, like we reduced downtime by 34% for a processor just like you, the trust jumps up a level fast.
And make it a habit, not a project. Turning recent wins into marketing ammo keeps your brand narrative fresh and grounded in reality. Consistency. Probably the least sexy part of branding, but the most critical. Benny, what's your take on developing and sustaining a brand voice that works?
Build a brand voice guideline that everyone studies, not just marketing. Audit your communication regularly. Emails, socials, sales presentations. Does it all sound like the same company with the same personality and values? Create easy templates for everyday use and coach the team on the tone, especially new hires. You want the brand to feel like a single person across every channel, every touch point.
If you spot drift, fix it immediately. One inconsistent LinkedIn post can undo months of careful brand building. Templates, guides, and audits keep everyone rowing in the same direction. So, how do you make brand part of daily life, not a poster on the wall? Because we know if it's not embedded, it's forgotten.
Operationalize with checklists. Every sales call, every piece of outbound has a quick review against the brand guide. Onboarding covers brand values, voice, and storytelling, no exceptions. Then, make team reviews routine. Quick pulse checks to see if everyone's staying aligned. Branding isn't a campaign, it's a repeatable behavior.
And when new people join, onboarding them on brand principles as early as possible makes consistency feel easy, not forced. Taking it a step further, how do you make customers your brand amplifiers, not just silent buyers?
Get your team to actively seek feedback. Solicit testimonials, case studies, even just short quotes. Build programs to spotlight your champions, maybe run a content series or highlight user-generated stories. Offer small incentives for referrals. Nothing builds brand equity like customers singing your praises organically to their networks.
Loyalty programs aren't just a SaaS thing. Real appreciation and simple rewards turn happy customers into your most convincing marketing channel. Consistency isn't just external. Benny, what does real internal brand alignment look like? How do you get every department speaking the same language?
It's about cross-functional communication, marketing, sales, product, and support syncing to reinforce values and core story. Run regular training. Bring everyone into the brand workshop and make sure people know how their role represents the brand. Internal town halls, quick pulse surveys, give everyone a way to surface issues or confusion. That's how brand becomes culture, not just collateral.
When product, sales, and marketing actually talk, you avoid the classic mixed messages problem, and prospects catch on almost instantly if the internal alignment is strong or weak. Okay, Benny, let's imagine the best problem. Your brand is working. Now you're hiring, entering new markets. How do you scale without losing what made the brand sharp in the first place?
Document everything in a single clear playbook. Core messaging, visual standards, storytelling guides. Train new hires thoroughly and regularly retrain everyone else. Use a central digital asset library for templates. Keep it updated. The playbook is what holds it together as people, departments, and geographies get added. Without it, you go generic fast.
And don't put it in a binder no one reads. The playbook has to live in your daily workflow, accessible and practical. Let's touch auditing, because maintenance is just as important as launch. Benny, what's your checklist for a real brand audit?
Review all your key assets. Website, LinkedIn, decks, even customer chats. Ask internal and external folks where the brand feels fuzzy or off. Do quarterly reviews. update your guidelines in response. If you're not constantly checking for drift, you'll never spot small issues before they turn into big perception problems.
Feedback loops, even with a small sample, will save you 6 figures compared to a reactive rebrand down the line. All right, Benny, let's circle back to internal brand alignment, since it comes up again and again. Is there a different layer to this than just generic meetings?
Absolutely. Create structured communication channels, dedicated Slack channels, scheduled cross-team check-ins, run hands-on brand training, bring everyone into the story workshops, and build feedback mechanisms. If you don't actively gather and adapt to internal feedback, you'll miss when frontline employees start to improvise or drift the narrative on their own. It's a living system.
Internal buy-in is the only way brand survives contact with real market changes. Keep the loop open and frictionless. Let's look at empowering people. It's all about the daily behaviors, right?
Train, train, train. Scenario-based role plays. Use real sales calls or customer support moments to reinforce messaging. When you recognize and reward people for embodying the brand, you get way more buy-in. Shout-outs, small incentives, internal ambassador programs, these actually work. A living brand is one the whole team feels proud and confident to represent.
If you want brand ownership, reward brand behavior. Don't just hope for it. A little public recognition goes a long way. How do you keep evolving? No brand stays relevant just by standing still, especially in tech, right?
It's about regular reviews and experiments. Schedule quarterly strategy checkups. Bring in market trends and fresh customer intel. Give a couple of team members the green light to try new formats, new narratives, and see what moves the needle. And don't forget, keep investing in your own learning. Branding isn't static, and you either update with the world or get left behind.
Innovation should feel routine, not panic-driven. Make it part of the review cycle, so updates and experiments happen before your message gets stale. All right, global. We see so many Israeli companies hit that inflection point and just copy-paste the brand for the US or Germany. Benny, what should they do instead?
Cultural nuance is huge. Your messaging and visuals have to click with each region. Build regional assets, local case studies, visuals, content. Train local teams to tell the core story in a way that fits their context. Your brand stays consistent globally, but the flavor matches the audience. Otherwise, you just show up as another foreign vendor, and you'll always be fighting an uphill battle for trust.
A little customization goes a long way. Buyers can tell when you care enough to localize just for them. Let's talk crisis, because even the best brands get blindsided sometimes. What's the real playbook, Benny?
Proactive planning. Have a crisis communication doc that ties back to your core messaging and values. Make sure every leader and frontline team member knows what to say and how to keep it aligned. Monitor socials, watch for feedback, and be quick to adapt if perception starts to shift. In a crisis, consistent, trustworthy messaging is your lifeline. If you wing it, you lose trust indefinitely.
And test the plan. Do fire drills before you need them. In the real world, no one reads a strategy guide during chaos. No brand is finished. Let's get into constant improvement. How do you bring customer insight into the heart of brand evolution?
Continuous feedback, Brenda. Surveys, deep dive interviews, social listening. Find what's changing for your buyers, what language they use, what's working and what's not. Then, bake those insights into your strategy discussions and messaging updates. Market fit isn't a one-time achievement. Use the data, not gut feels, to guide your next move.
Iteration beats perfection. The teams willing to kill a favorite tagline or tweak visuals based on buyer feedback are the ones that stay ahead. Empowerment again, but let's look at it through the actions, not words lens. How do you help everyone live the brand in real moments?
Roleplay, gamify, make it tangible. You want scenario practice, not just did you memorize the messaging doc. Run periodic shoutouts. Celebrate people who model the brand in tough customer moments. And really, you gotta reward it, publicly or even with a small bonus. It just sticks better when people feel invested.
Cultural reinforcement is hard, but it's the multiplier for every other brand investment you make. Let's check in one more time on innovation, because markets move fast, especially in SaaS or hardware. What's the signal to try something new?
Metrics drop or customer conversations start repeating, that's your cue. It's the job of whoever owns the brand to sense when it's time for a refresh. Messaging, visuals, even the story arc. Assign a team to test new directions quarterly, check results, and then actually implement the best stuff. Don't be afraid to experiment. Branding's no place for nostalgia.
If what worked a year ago feels tired, act before customers do it for you by ghosting your content or messaging. Can we get practical about measurement? What are the KPIs you always reach for to see if the brand is really delivering results?
Look at awareness, but also at engagement rates, lead quality, how often your messaging and visuals are cited in closed-won deals. Use regular reviews and check what resonates most via surveys, digital analytics, sales feedback. Then adjust, test new things, iterate. Branding's not static. It's a series of micro-optimizations based on data and real buyer responses.
Better to double down on what the market reacts to than fall in love with your own campaign. So what about making your team your brand champions, not just employees? Is there a playbook that works?
Yep, a formal internal ambassador program. Give the team shareable stories, provide regular training on how to talk about wins and setbacks, and incentivize people who actively advocate on LinkedIn or conferences. When the team's living the brand, you multiply your voice and credibility, authentically, not forced.
Workshops, clear guidelines, and internal competitions can turn the whole crew into a force multiplier. It starts with real empowerment, not just memos from the C-suite. Let's close in on culture. What's the difference between a company with strong branding and a true brand culture?
Culture means everyone feels they own the brand. That shows up in onboarding, internal comms, even performance reviews. Make storytelling a habit. Use cross-departmental projects to break silos and always reinforce the values that sit under your best brand moments. That's when you know it's not just window dressing, it's real.
It's how you build sustainable differentiation. When brand lives in the culture, it survives market cycles and leadership changes. All right, we've covered a lot. If you're still with us, thanks for sticking through. Before we wrap, if you're a B2B leader with a dilemma, a real branding question, or a mess you want us to unravel on air, please reach out. You'll find all our details at match-b2b.com. I promise, we read every note and respond personally.
And don't forget, connect with me on LinkedIn, Benny Fluman. We share ongoing insights, new episodes, and real-world stories every week. If something we discussed sparks a question, just drop me a line. No template response. You'll get me. Brenda, always a pleasure doing this with you. Looking forward to continuing this journey, one episode at a time.
Same to you, Benny. To everyone listening, stay sharp, keep challenging the defaults, and tune in next time for more Match B2B Insights. Goodbye for now.